Hello and welcome to episode 177 of the Perth to Paisley podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart of Midlothian Football Club, who ended their long wait for a win in the Scottish Premiership this season on Saturday. Joining me, Adam Kennedy, to discuss the weekend win for Neil Critchley's Jambos in the new gaffer's first game in charge is Daniel McIver. Mr. McIver, how are you? Have you enjoyed your time off from Hearts and the podcast?
Well, not really, because I've been ill for most of it. I've been whatever this flu thing that's going around that isn't COVID, but everybody I know seems to
Uh,
get.
yeah, okay.
It's absolutely floored me. Been off work with it, but I'm back now. Where we've got some form of cognitive thoughts, even though many people would say I've never had
Hooray!
it to begin with. I do apologize if I sound a bit weird or if you're watching on YouTube and you see me having a coughing fit during it, but that's by the by. However, the important thing is, as I say, if you're watching on YouTube, the important thing is we've got the top. The top's
Oh,
here.
there it is.
The Perry Kitchen top has arrived. So that'll soon be getting framed
Not
and
not
put
my
behind
finest
me.
work, I will be honest, but
Wonderful.
now it's obviously got a home, so that I am happy about. I'm strictly forbidden to wear it, given of course my girlfriend is Canadian.
Yeah.
That would be like her wearing an England top, strict no-no. So yeah,
Well,
happy it's yours
it's
to
coming to
pay
me.
homage to Captain America.
Love Captain America. So that'll be going up soon. And yeah, Hearts have won a game of football in the league. I saw it. I actually saw us take a lead. I saw us win a game. What a time to be alive. How are you?
Yes, have to say I'm in a much better place. One win and all of a sudden we're all at the top of the world.
Yep.
A swallow doesn't make a summer, but I'm
But
really
it's
really
summoned.
happy. Yeah, and you know what? I'm hopeful that we can create an episode that matches the enormity of this week. Obviously, we've picked up our first league win, our first home game in Europe this season in midweek. And then just the small matter of the first Edinburgh Derby this season at Easter Road against the Mankey mob. Cannot wait for it.
Yeah. It could be
What a
it could
time.
be the perfect week or it could be fucking disastrous.
We're already over the first hurdle, so
Yeah,
let's hope
true.
that we clear those other two.
Yeah.
Um, Look, we need to address the elephant in the room. We have been away. There was an international break. Um, and Hearts made a big appointment in the international break. Our new manager, Neil Critchley. And to be honest, I just feel like reading the club statement because they sum up everything. They tell you everything you need to know, and then I'll get your thoughts on it. Heart Midlothian Football Club is delighted to confirm the managerial appointment of Neil Critchley, the Englishman who boasts vast coaching experience down south, becomes the Jambos' new head coach on a deal through to the end of the 2026-27 season. He'll be assisted by former Liverpool Academy, Blackpool, Lincoln City, and Queen's Park Rangers coach Mike Garrity, who also has experience coaching abroad in Norway and China. 45-year-old Neil has worked with some of the biggest names in world football in his previous roles as head coach of Liverpool under 18s and under 23s, and won promotion to the EFL Championship as a manager in his own right at Blackpool. Season 2021 brought great success as Neil steered the Bloomfield Road outfit to third in EFL League One, going on to win the playoff final and thus securing promotion to the Championship. The subsequent campaign saw the Seasiders consolidate their championship status with a 16th place finish, well above the relegation zone, before a move to Premier League side Aston Villa as Steven Gerrard's assistant in June 2022. A short spell as head coach of Queen's Park Rangers followed, before Neil returned to Blackpool for the 23-24 season, where they would just miss out on a playoff spot by 3 points. His journey now takes him to Gorgie, where he will focus his efforts on getting the Jambos back on track domestically, as well as building on the fantastic start made in the UEFA Conference League. Speaking about the appointment, CEO Andrew McKinley told the official Hearts website, "I'm very happy to be able to welcome Neil to Hearts. We've made no secret of the fact that analytics has guided our search for a new manager, and that data presented us with many top quality options, including Neil. During the interview process, we got the opportunity to hear from applicants and get a better understanding of them as people, and in particular, how they have dealt with and learnt from particular situations, both positive and negative, in their careers. In addition, we were able to ascertain who would fit best into our new model going forward, which includes the use of analytics for recruitment and the appointment of a new sporting director with very clear ideas of what we need to do to succeed. This was a vital part of our deliberations, as any appointment has to be fully bought into this to ensure that we have the maximum chance of success. Following these discussions, it became very clear who the standard candidates were. Neil understands well what we are looking to do, has experience at big club environments, none more so than at Liverpool, and is an ambitious coach with a desire to lead his teams to the top. Everyone at Hearts is looking forward to Neil getting to work, and I'm sure our supporters will give him a warm welcome when we play St Mirren on Saturday and continue their unrivaled backing of the team. Thoughts, Daniel McIver?
So, underwhelmed was kind of the main word that seems to have come up. Even as someone who has left art and Scottish football social media, I've still been made very well aware of the general reaction to said appointment. So I'll initially give you my thoughts. I was quite underwhelmed. I don't look into the QPR
Then,
stint as much as maybe others do because I just think that's a basket case of a club that I don't know how many people are going to do well in.
well, Michael Beale proved a success there, and look how he did up here.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, the second stint at Blackpool was not a success, despite the way the club try and portray it in our lovely restatement, was not a success. But very, very successful in his first stint, and his main characteristic seems to be something that I don't think we've had in a manager since Jeffries in 2011-12. No, Sergio. Someone who can make players better. That seems to be Neil Critchley's MO in terms of he's a very good coach. Now, I love Robbie Nielsen. I still love Craig Levein. But neither of them, or Stendhal, Cathro, Naismith, none of them were defined by improving players. Oftentimes, we just kind of played well in systems, but with the exception of like Patterson, Walker the first time around, and like Doom, did you see a player come in and then you see them continually get better than you thought possible and move on to bigger and better things? Because a lot of the time we'd get good players, but they'd already be good players. And you'd kind of just be like, oh yeah, well, they're going to be good now. Shankland's like a return to form thing because he was like the reverse of that coin, where he had one obviously bad stint in Scottish football, but the rest of his time in Scottish football from like Ayr, Dundee United and stuff was really successful. It's just when he got a guy who went, you could have 50 yards between you and the rest of the team, he started doing badly. That's a positive for me with Critchley, that it seems to be more of a head coach appointment than a managerial appointment, if that makes sense. Which,
Which I guess is the worry, given we were told the same with regards to Ian Cathro.
true, but I still think it's really, really weird that people in Scottish football just go, oh, well, Cathro didn't work, so we should never do something like this again. And that brings me to the next point, where it's been really embarrassing to be a Hearts fan and seeing the reaction to this appointment because it just is the most like, oh yeah, we are such an entitled fan base. Like, he might be rubbish, right? This might end in a disaster, and we're here in a year's time going, what was the point in that? This was terrible. But why would you just assume that's going to happen? And why wouldn't you just get on board? Why would you be like, sack the board before he's even got in the dugout? Now, I say all of
I,
this,
I was going to say their track record sort of speaks for itself, though.
true, but they also have appointed the most successful manager in our lifetime twice. So it doesn't speak for itself in
Yeah,
the way that some
okay,
people try
yeah,
and
first time
act.
around, but that was still seen as a risk. And second time, they basically got rid of somebody that they'd appointed, hadn't even announced his sacking, just announced Robbie Nielsen as our new manager,
Yeah, and
and
then
just
he did
left
really
Daniel
well for us
Stendhal.
again.
I'm not disputing that, but they left Daniel Stendhal in the lurch. It was as though it was just, oh, that's me sacked because they've appointed somebody else. Cool.
True. I did also find out this like couple of weeks that He should have known that because we had a clause in his contract that if we got relegated, we were going to sack him, and we got relegated.
It was the
I still
technicality
think,
around
I
that
still think we
surrounding
should have
that time.
told him,
Of
like,
course,
yeah.
yes, that's my point.
But I
But
hate
yes,
this reaction where it's like, and yeah, I'm saying all this. I would have said this if we recorded last week. Never mind after the weekend where we
yeah,
blow a team out the water who a couple of
I,
weeks ago handedly beat us.
I'm I, I'm still skeptical.
So am I.
I,
That's
I,
that's a
I,
very fair position to take.
I'm really pleased with the win. Well done. If we win these next two games, I'll feel a heck of a lot more confident.
Yeah, but
And that's and
that,
that's and that's natural. To me, I think the big takeaway from this is we haven't just gone down the boring managerial merry-go-round
yeah,
of a Stephen Robinson, a Derek McInnes, whoever. But this is where it's like I wouldn't have wanted somebody in Scotland, but I've got that fear that we've appointed somebody that's never worked in Scottish football before. I the the whole the whole Tony Bloom thing, the whole cloud that we deem to be blooming over us is we're going to have to trust this process. That the club were desperate to get that paragraph about the analytics in
yeah. Why
because they
wouldn't you
saw that
do it though?
100%, but they saw the reaction online and thought, oh, okay,
Shit.
that's not gone down as well with the fans as
Yeah.
perhaps we thought. Right, we're going to have to come out and say this.
I do
That
just
might have always been the plan. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. I'm merely
I think it
speculating.
would have been I think it would have been because I think it is pretty clear that he was the
Playing
head.
a big role. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do just want to I don't want what I just said to be misconstrued as you should just be completely unwavering in support and never question it. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
As I
absolutely
say,
not. Everybody's
underwhelmed.
entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, underwhelmed is my general sentiment. But I think there is such a difference in being like, I'm underwhelmed by this, but I'm going to get behind the guy and go in. I think this is a terrible appointment, so the board should be sacked because they've made it. It's like,
Yeah,
well, then what if he wins the first 20 games and folk go, oh, well, actually, it was quite a good appointment? It's like, yeah, let it happen.
yeah. I just can't help but feel that there is a tiny element of the Heart support that are desperate to see O'Neill Critchley fail,
I agree with that. There's a
so that they can be proven
stubbornness.
right. I
Yeah,
hope I'm wrong personally.
yeah.
I hope the guy's a riveting success, and we're led to superstardom,
He also
and
seems
everything's all rosy in
lovely,
the garden.
so I hope it
He seems a
goes
great guy.
well from
If
that
you fancy it,
perspective.
Neil, you're more than welcome to come on the podcast at the end of the season, provided it's
We've
gone well.
supported you the whole
Um,
time, mate. There you are.
provided it's gone well. The thing that kind of again another factor that kind of emanated with the appointment was that seemingly Hearts had basically sealed the deal with Permitius Hogmo, the Norwegian. That's fallen through, and then I think fans had a little worry that Neil Critchley's not our first choice. It was instead the Norwegian. That's fallen through, so we're gonna go to Critchley, and he'll know that he wasn't first choice. I don't really think any of that matters in the grand scheme of things. He's the one that's got the job.
Yeah,
Yes, uh, upon kind of doing due diligence, you realise that Permitius Hogmo, his CV was looking strong. He'd managed, when was successful in Norway, managed the national team, whatever. But the club have done what they believe is right via the analytics, via Tony Bloom's help. So trust the process, and we've just got to ride it out. I know that's much easier said than done. And yes, again, I will stress, I remain a tad skeptical, but this is just the way of it now.
but like as I say, that's a sensible approach. You're not going, well, this is going to be an unmitigated success. So if it's anything else, it's a failure. You're being like, I have concerns. Let's see how they go. You're not just being like, right, where's the bed sheets? Get them out, get the plane. Come on, let's see what's happening. It seems that a section of the support were, which blows my mind. And then we go and do that at the weekend, as if to be
That
like, fuck yes.
that reminds me, I'm gonna have to check my speed dial and see if I've still got that plane guy on there.
That's my conspiracy theory that you were behind that.
I was not. Robbie's first spell was great. Loved it. Second, okay. Anyway,
Second was still pretty great.
we're not here to talk about Robin
How are we
Gilson.
in this
We're
conversation?
here to talk about Heart of Midlothian getting back to winning ways. Neil Critchley did what Stephen Naismith couldn't do, what Daniel Stendhal couldn't do, what Robbie Nielsen couldn't do, and that was lose to St Mirren and obviously um, lose your job. He's victorious, so at least he's survived
So
the
he's
week.
kept it for a
Um,
week.
but before we get chatting about the resounding battering of the buddies, which we always love, we're going to go
We'll
around
get
the
to an
grounds.
even better result in around the
Oh,
ground.
take your pick. This is fantastic. What a weekend. First of all, we're going to go to Parkhead as the top two faced off Celtic and Aberdeen. And the Dons battled back from 2 goals down to take a point at Parkhead. Impressive result, if you ask the Scottish media. Celtic don't usually get a test like that in Glasgow, conveniently forgetting that Hearts won there last season. A much needed victory for Dundee, who snuck past the Steelmen thanks to a sole Lyle Cameron goal at Fir Park as they beat Motherwell 1-0. And despite Simo Valakari still being unable to take charge of St Johnstone, it was a fine win for the Finn in Perth against a Staggy side that failed to keep their discipline, and eventually it went down to 9 men. St Johnstone battering Ross County 3 goals to nil. However, the best of the bunch with regards to Saturday's fixtures was Dundee United trailing Hibernian by 2 goals to 1 at Tannadice Park. 92 minutes on the clock, but a terrific turnaround from the Terrors saw them beat Hibs 3-2 thanks to goals in the 93rd and 99th minute to send the High Bees bottom of the Premiership pile. One of the worst starts to the season in Heart of Midlothian
The
history,
worst.
and still above our City rivals. Truly the best rivals that anybody could ever ask for. Um, and rather disappointingly, Kilmarnock decided to outshine Hearts on Sunday.
Not disappointing.
Rangers failing to close the gap between themselves and both the top two after they failed to win, as Kelly and Marley Watkins left it late to beat the Gers. Wonder if that means that Derek McInnes is closer to taking the reins at Ibrox. What did you make of the other quintet of Scottish Premiership fixtures in a wacky but wonderful weekend, Mr. McIver?
Not depressingly. I'm chuffed that Killie beat Rangers because it doesn't
Oh, you
matter
love to
for the
see it.
season.
Yeah, you
Like
love to see it.
Killie, Hearts, and Hibs are all in kind of false positions. So therefore,
Yes,
it
I
doesn't even
think so.
matter. Like I always will want a non-old firm team, unless it's Hibs, to beat the half of the old firm. John Suter, fucking lol. Well
Get that
done.
right round you.
So that was
Shove that up your
funny.
coffee shop reviews.
Celtic Aberdeen, come back to me in January because no, it's not a title challenge. We were 6 points clear in
Oh,
the October
thank you.
and finished fucking sixth.
Thank you. Like,
Like,
oh, what are we doing here? Did you see the nick of Aberdeen's equaliser? They're
yeah.
nicking the opener
The
against
first goal's good. First
the
goal's good.
first goal's
Sokler's
great.
really good. Yeah.
Lovely pass from Jamie McGrath. Fantastic finish from Sokler. But the second,
Yeah.
like, come on, what are we doing here?
I think Aberdeen will very comfortably finish third, by the way, and will have,
Oh, they're finished. They've secured top three already. It's
yeah,
whether they
and will
can push
have
Rangers to
a
second or not.
wonderfully successful season. But yeah, what are we doing? Why are we pretending that they're going to potentially win the league or even split the old firm? Like,
And
it's not going to happen.
it's mental. Like only in Scotland could people like put this theory. But then if anybody does get close to challenging the old firm, it's like, whoa, back
What
in
are you
your
doing?
station.
Yeah.
We're you're upsetting the establishment here. Hold on
Yeah.
a second. Like stay in your lane.
Yeah.
I just think it's bipolar behaviour. Like, yeah, Aberdeen are doing great. Like, yeah. Do you know what? Fair fucks to them. If they maintain it,
Oh yeah, they're doing really well.
you know, brilliant. A great first season for Jimmy Taylor. But we've seen this story one too many times.
Yeah. Um, I'm chuffed for Mackenzie Kirk getting his first goal in the Prem. Very similar way of scoring to a way that we'll be speaking about in our
Yes.
game.
Scrappy do, but fair
But
play.
I love the fact that Andy Kirk is still is like, I'm still in the touchline here. My laddie's fucking playing. Right? I don't care.
Kimpioka and Sidibe have been back for a couple of weeks now. It's like, no.
No.
Hold on, the boy's got to get a chance up
Yeah.
front.
I didn't expect that at all, though. I
No,
genuinely
no,
didn't
it's
expect
aye.
that.
Great
I
win
know,
for St
obviously,
Johnstone.
you're helped by a very early red card and then Charlie Telfer just being like, I can't be
Oh,
arsed. Fuck this. But still, that's an amazing result. Absolutely fair play. I was surprised. The most surprising result for me was Motherwell Dundee.
yeah, very much so.
I
I
just kind
agree.
of was I expected like the same scoreline, but the other way around. I just thought Motherwell would kind of like ride out.
I
But
strongly fancied Motherwell given the form
yeah,
they were in and the form that Dundee were in.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Really surprised. And then, now listen, I'm not saying a lot
Oh,
because I'm terrified that this gets
oh,
back to
they're
us next
dire.
week.
They're absolutely dire.
But this is the thing. I don't think they are. What I think they are is like Hibson is so ingrained in them because it seems every review I've seen from a neutral of Hibs games, because I will be honest, I've barely seen any of them this season. I have barely seen a second of them. I've mainly seen Andy Halliday's goal against them and then these sports scene highlights. But,
They should have got something at Ibrox
well,
when I
this is
watched
the
them against
thing.
Rangers.
Almost every neutral goes, well, they were the better team for the entire game, should have beaten us, and somehow we've won. So, like, they're not going to do this every week. They're not going to be comfy in a
Hope so.
winning position and then absolutely Hibs it. But is this one of the biggest examples of Hibs? They were winning at 5 o'clock on a Saturday and lost. Now,
That is the type of defeat that can be damaging
yeah,
psychologically.
absolutely. And listen,
That's one of them that's not just forgotten in a hurry. And the
yeah,
fact that we then play them in the derby so soon after it, like that could not have gone any better from
yeah,
our
the fact that
perspective.
you say you made the point where it's like, unbelievably, if you said to anybody this at 2:45 on Saturday, no one would have believed you that Hibs would go into the derby bottom of the week. Like,
Yeah,
there needed to
wild.
be like a 5 goal swing. And it was like, well, that's not going to happen. And it just fucking
That just shows
did.
the nature of our league. Like it's genuinely insane. It's crazy.
I can't believe there's any discussion about the Joe Newell red card. It's a
Oh,
straight red on its own.
oh my God. The one that he's shown the second yellow for.
Yeah,
It could easily be a red card.
it's a red
Like,
card.
yeah.
It's a straight red. The ref's actually done him a favour by just double booking him so he only gets a 1 game ban.
Done Hibs a favour. I'm
Yeah,
devastated he's ruled out of the derby now.
I know, exactly. He's always quite shit against us, it feels. Um, but my main thing is, and I know this is in time for we're recording this time next week, and we're sat here going, fucking obviously he has a man of the match performance, but it does feel like they've got another
Oh,
Makalambi, Zibi Mikowski in goals. Hibs, we grew
it's
up,
been long overdue.
yeah, we grew up in the ultimate era of Hibs having banter goalkeepers.
Horrendous goalkeepers. Not
Yeah,
even just poor goalkeepers, like
but
horrendously
in
bad
all
goalkeepers.
seriousness, from an analysis point of view, it feels like Joe Pereira. It just feels like everything that goes near him might go in, which is a real issue for Hibs.
I would think you look at like the past couple of seasons. I think Levy were always bound to be in trouble, okay, but Shamal George, not a great goalkeeper. When you're
Yeah,
choosing between Shamal George and Jack Hamilton, the writing's basically on the wall. Season prior to that, Mark Birighitti pretty much cost Dundee United their
yeah,
place in the league. Season prior to that, we were choosing between three jokers. Like, I can't stress it enough how and do you know what? Throughout the league, I feel like the standard of the goalkeeper is pretty good,
yeah. It's all right actually.
but give yourself a chance at least.
Yeah,
Look at St Johnston last year. I mean, they'd have been down in August, September if it wasn't for Mitov.
100%. And that's a big reason why Aberdeen are doing so well because
Like,
Mitov is
undoubtedly, a massive
fantastic.
upgrade on Kelleros.
Yeah. So
Undoubtedly.
listen, it was hilarious walking out of Tynecastle going, why the fuck is this no finished yet? It's 2-all. Get the result. And then just see him goal for Dundee United 3-2. And it was like, this is the best day ever. But I don't think they're as bad as Hibs fans think they are. But I hope they are next weekend.
I think they are. To me, I don't see any Hibs player that would get in our team when fully fit.
I'm trying to think of Hibs players.
There would maybe be an argument for a centre forward just
Ellie
because
Yuan,
obviously
probably.
Shankland's not hit the heights. Ellie Yuan. Would you
Ellie
take Ellie
Yuan's a
Yuan
really
over
good player.
Danda or Spittle
Maybe not over those two,
right
but
now?
probably over most of our wide options.
Okay.
But that's it. But
Anyone else?
he isn't even getting a fucking game for them.
No.
He'll play this weekend. That's my big prediction. That he'll play this weekend and do well.
So there you have it. I mean, what a quintet. Well and truly back with a bang, the cinch after the international break. And yes,
Loving
I'm
it.
well aware that it's dropped the cinch,
Fuck
but
off.
saying the Willie Hill just doesn't sound
It's
appropriate.
Critch and the cinch. That's what it
Yeah.
is, right? That's where we
That's
are.
a slang. Get on board. Trust the process,
Exactly.
man. Um, but we are going to speak about the Critch and his beginning to life in the cinch.
Critch
Um,
ball.
it's in full flow, baby. I'm really, really happy. What I want to chat about before we speak about squad selection was I I would be the first to slate Hearts at many a thing. However, the timing of the Liam Fox announcement was perfect.
Yep.
Absolutely perfect. As on Saturday before the match, Heart Midlothian Football Club was delighted to announce that Liam Fox has been appointed assistant first team coach with immediate effect. Liam spent time within the Hearts backroom staff at various stages of his coaching career between 2015 and 2020 before returning to Tynecastle as head coach of the B team in June 2023. The Wee Jambos enjoyed a fantastic campaign under the guidance of Fox, finishing second in the 23-24 Lowland League and scoring 92 goals in the process. Fox was then appointed first team interim head coach in September and helped the Men in Maroon kickstart the UEFA Conference League campaign with a 2-1 victory over Dinamo Minsk in Azerbaijan. He'll now begin his new role within the first team coaching setup alongside Neil Critchley and Mike Garrity until the summer of 2027. And speaking to the official Hearts website, Neil Critchley said, "I'm delighted that Liam has agreed to join the first team coaching setup. In the short time that I've been at the club, his experience and knowledge of not only the group of players but the football club in general has been invaluable. Liam has a lot to offer as a coach and I'm very much looking forward to continuing to work with him." And Liam Fox added, "Firstly, I'd like to thank Neil, Mike, and the club for the opportunity. I've really enjoyed working alongside them this week, and as a Hearts fan myself, I'm extremely grateful to be given such a role. It's been a difficult start to the season for the club, but during my time in interim charge, the players gave me absolutely everything, and I'm sure it'll be the same for Neil and Mike starting against St Mirren." And that was the case.
I kind of forgot that we were going to be speaking about this, so it's the perfect time. I think a lot, and this is what I was kind of going to say as a summation of the game. I think a lot of credit should go to Liam Fox for this game. I'm not taking away
Totally
anything
agree.
from Neil Critchley. I'm not, because I do think there was things that we were doing in this game that we didn't even do with Liam Fox. But generally, I think this is like the peak of what Liam Fox was trying to do in that 3 week period. And it just feels like the entire team's got a proper like confidence boost under his period of time. So I'm so chuffed for him.
This is, in essence, the fall guy being kept on,
Yeah,
which
basically.
which shouldn't really happen, but I'm delighted it has happened
Yeah.
because we really would be in the mud. You would have worried about the game, I think, at the weekend had we not seen something both in Azerbaijan and in Aberdeen as well.
Yeah, definitely. And just, I know I said this last time, but I'm just so buzzing for Liam Fox because he is such a big, like, Hearts fan. He's never got
No,
to play for us in that bullshit way that the club just fucked him over twice.
yeah, it must be incredible actually working or playing for the club that you support. Like that must just be the dream.
In his eyes, he'll be like, I need to become the next Billy Brown. We need to win a cup, and I need to be the assistant manager who was there for it.
So in essence, you're saying that the squad should go to Choco in pre-season.
Oh
He
yeah,
should
shit.
he should have his vest on, sun cream round the nose, and the whistle round his neck.
Listen, I would love that. That would be amazing.
Imagine the club actually paid homage to Billy Brown and just uploaded the pre-season snaps, and there's Liam Fox
So good. That would be
taking a session
so
or
good.
two, just ready with his wee whistle ready to blow.
I would unironically fucking love that, especially if we just won a cup at the end of the previous season. And it's like, yep, he's living his best life. He's a hero now.
Exactly, like sod everybody else on that open top bus. Just have
No,
Liam
I
Fox at
just
the
want
front,
Liam Fox
just there
there.
he is, holding that
Listen,
trophy.
when we
Get
win the
round it,
Scottish
Foxy.
Cup at the end of this season, folk better remember that it was Liam Fox who kick-started all this.
Oh, I'm glad you're not getting carried away.
Oh
That's
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Yeah,
4-0 and I've already
that's
got us
it.
on the open top bus parade.
Oh God, yeah. Let's. In fact, Edinburgh City Council, anybody that's working for the council now, just arrange that. Just
Yeah,
arrange the road, Princess Street being shut, the entire route, Haymarket down to Gorgie, whatever. Shut it all off now.
yeah, go for it.
Neil Critchley is who we're talking about, and he made just two changes in the first squad selection of his spell in charge of Hearts after the aforementioned 3-2 defeat to Aberdeen at Pittodrie prior to the international break. The man, the myth, the legend of this podcast, Luke Henrice, replaced Stephen Kingsley at left back, and the suspended George Grant made way for my Congolese king, Benny Beningame, to partner Malachi Boateng in midfield. What are you doing? What's that?
I'm laughing because I'm thinking to myself, those two subs, like changes, should
Uh-huh.
just be permanent.
Yeah.
Like that should just be a thing now.
But there was lots of discussion surrounding the formation that this personnel would occupy. It appeared for a short spell of time, and when we got into the game, that Hearts were starting with two up top, a 4-4-2, as follows: Craig Gordon in goal, the back four of Luke Penrice, so every time, Kai Rolls,
Some folk
Frankie
get
Kent.
really angry about it, and
I
it
know.
makes me want to do it more.
And Daniel Ugoki, you're lucky you're not on social media because the amount of comments that I see be like, "It's James Penrice." It will always be Luke. Accept it. A midfield quartet of Blair Spittle, Malachi Boateng, Benny Beningame, and Jan Danda, with Kenneth Vargas partnering Lawrence Shankland up front, Xander Clark, Stephen Kingsley, Craig Halkett, Barry Mackay, Cammy Devlin, Alan Forrest, James Wilson, Liam Boyce, and Adam Forrester on the bench for the Jam Tarts. What did you make of the 4-4-2? How happy were you to see Luke return and Benny back?
Buzzing, just really happy. And also, I was just chuffed to see Boateng remain because I
Yes.
fucking love Malcolm Boateng. I think he's amazing. But I'll be honest, I didn't care what we were playing when I saw the team. I was like, what is that? Especially because you hear about all the like, he loves a 3-5-2, he loves a 5-3-2 kind of thing. And then
That was
that comes out.
yeah, that was a worry. I thought he was just sticking with a 4-2-3-1.
Same. That's what I just like defaulted to. And then you see Laurie Dunsire's tweet that Hearts are playing 4-4 fucking 2. And I've seen a lot of people in sports scene like Neil McCann and stuff like that saying in essence it actually played more like a 4-2-4. The way I saw it during the game was like a 4-2-2 because
Yes.
Spittle and Danda were more advanced and also tucked in a bit. They weren't like left and right mids. But Boateng and Benny are just so that's the partnership now.
Agreed.
Until Neuenhoff comes back and it's kind of like, oh, okay, what happens?
Do you know what else as well? Like obviously Danda and Spittle will come inside, and then as we saw countless times at the weekend, Daniel Uigoke and Luke can just bomb on,
Yeah, exactly.
which is wonderful as well.
It's just listen, we'll probably speak a lot about I know I am aware, ladies and gentlemen, we're 35 minutes in, we're just getting the game. I'm not going to talk a lot about this game
But
apart
no,
from just
we're
be
just
like it's
we're just
class.
gonna go over the goals because it was
But
good.
what a novelty when you play a player when you play players like Blair Spittle in his actual position.
But, I mean, who could have foreseen it? Daniel McIver.
What was Naismith doing? I'm now I've got more angry at Naismith as the week has gone on because I think this was a front. What was Naismith? Did he just
What
go?
do you mean?
Was he just like I'm going to sacrifice my own managerial career to prove that Blair Spittle's shit? Did something happen with him and Blair Spittle? Because why did he
No,
sign him and play him as a six? What's going on when he's this good? This is how good he has been.
because even when Malachi Boateng arrived, like he still continued to play
Yeah,
Blair
he played
Spittle that
Spittle
bit
behind him.
deeper. Yeah, I don't know. I'd still love you, Nazy. I'm sorry for how it
So
ended.
do I, but I genuinely want to ask him what the fuck was going on with that. And just
I
not
don't know.
playing Yandanda ever.
I, he's one of the first names on the team sheet.
I now think, by the way,
Him and
I know
Luke on the flanks. Go on.
because of the connection with Critchley, I don't think we will ever see Yandanda drop ever again.
No. I'm happy. If that's your justification for giving him the job, then that's
Yeah.
cool with me.
I was
Thumbs up.
terrified when in the press he kept mentioning about how, oh yeah, I love you, Andanda. Oh, also, I know Ryan Fulton, he's looked good in training. I was like, if you start Ryan Fulton against St Mirren, I'm away.
Imagine one of Xander Clark or Craig Gordon up in the stands. What a wild notion that would be. Jesus.
I was
Um,
worried.
I'll tell you what I was worried about, that the fans wouldn't necessarily be on side
Yeah.
because of their skepticism, their concerns regarding the managerial appointment. But you know that I often speak about the importance of a quick start, using the crowd to our advantage. We certainly got that on Saturday. And I'm relieved that kind of people's, I was going to say personal motives, their kind of
Yeah.
the general feeling was put to one side, and it obviously wasn't reflected by the beginning of the matches. It took just 15 minutes for Hearts to take the lead with a wonderful goal
This
that I
is one
could
of the
just
best
watch
goals
over
we've
and over
scored
and over and
in
over.
years at Tynecastle.
Ah, Malachi Boateng, who you adore, clips a ball out to the Wheatfield stand side where James Luke Penrice does really well to nod it back into play. He's just the best on earth, and I adore him. Blair Spittle wins the ball back, gives it to Benny Beningame, and my Congolese king is looking to make something happen. Wanders forward and looks to play a forward pass. Incredible. Searches out Ken Fargas, who back heels into Lauren Shanklin's path. Our number nine chips back to his Costa Rican counterpart, and it's a lovely link up from our front two. Vargas slots past the onrushing Ellery Balcom. 1-0. The wee man scores his first for the club this season, the first in the Neil Critchley era, and after bagging the first for his country in the international break, the ideal start for Hearts on Saturday.
Few things about this. One, you mentioned there about how Benny played a forward pass. I was actually on the phone to my dad on the way back from work today, and we were speaking about it, and he made the point, and I assume a lot of people on Twitter have made the point that it just felt the whole game that everybody's body shape was to play forward, which we've not really seen for ages. Um, and it was just so positive to see. I'm so chuffed for Kenny. You could tell by his celebration. He
Yeah,
really,
it looked like he was
really
going to
wanted
greet.
it. Yeah. I like that he did the kind of talking thing.
Yeah,
I respect it. Like, if you're going to
so
shut everybody up, do it.
and if you're willing to give it, you've got to take it. So
Yeah,
fair play.
exactly.
And he needed that after obviously the mess up in Aberdeen. But
Yeah.
what a finish for Costa Rica
Well,
as well during the break, can I say?
this is what I was going to say as my final point. It is clear that Kenny Vargas does well when he doesn't need to think.
100%. If he's got too much time, you can forget it.
Yeah.
Instinct only.
But this goal is so good.
It's
It's
brilliant.
such a well worked goal. And it did feel like it was coming in that opening 15 minutes. It was just like, we're creating, we're pushing. Penrice kept crossing the ball when he just got inside the half. It was really interesting. He wanted to keep playing early balls in, which it's
Reckon that's a wee instruction from
it
the new
happens so
gaffer.
often. I started being like, this has to be an instruction because Penrice normally likes to take it and drive. But there was like a 15-minute period where wherever he got it, he would just like ping the ball in from then. And I think it really made the St Mirren back line nervous in terms of like, oh shit, at any time we could be getting a ball put on top of us. And then it allowed him to be like, right, now I'm going to switch it up and now I'm going to start driving forward. When you've got yourself settled to expect a ball in, I can now go for it. It just, everybody
It
felt like they had a plan.
and even we've been frustrated with Lawrence Shankland, given he's effectively carried us for 2 years. um, but he's becoming far more involved in the play now.
Four
Whereas
goals in four, four goal
yeah, like
contributions in four.
that's what I was going to say. So he might not be hitting the back of the net, but at least then he's playing his part. He's laying it off to teammates. Sometimes he doesn't use them, and again, that's fine. But here, I mean, the ball is inch perfect. It's like a
Yeah.
laser cutting glass.
And
It's
listen,
exquisite.
say it quietly. But Critchley spoke a lot in the week about the Hearts way. And that always worries me a bit because it's like, what do you mean? That sounds like you did actually care what you're doing and just want to speak in generalities. And when he's just like, It
Stop
means,
playing up to the fans
yeah, it means aggressive. It means intense. It means proactive. And I'm like, that's a
on
lot
the
of words
front
to,
foot.
yeah, it's like all of them
Oh,
mean the same thing, Neil. Like, that's what but that was a very hard goal with like two up top and a bigger guy playing it off to a wee guy. Like,
yeah.
that is, so it kind of
Yeah.
made me be like, oh, okay, Neil, you're
And you
not
see
just
some
talking
fullbacks
shit.
getting involved and people
Yeah.
in the wide areas looking
It
to
was
make
like,
things happen. Oh,
now, listen,
oh.
we never saw this type of touch from him, but it felt very Kevin Kyle, David Templeton kind of thing. Kevin Kyle never played a ball like that. But, and Shankland isn't as much of a unit as Kevin Kyle
No,
is.
I think Temps is just out on the wing wandering. This is Kyle to Elliot.
Elliot's maybe a better comparison. Elliot could think, though. Kenny can't yet. In
You
fairness,
call
though,
David Templeton stupid?
no,
Is
I'm
that what
I'm
you're
saying
saying there?
Kenny Vargas is an idiot.
All right.
Um, Sleeves came to us when he was a lot
Idiot.
older, in fairness. But footballing wise, I mean, his
And could
football
speak
brain is still there.
English. It was
Yeah,
used to the
like
cold. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of fucking mitigating circumstances here for Kenny Vargas. But I'm so fucking happy for him.
Yeah,
And
so am I.
hopefully it is like it's like club and country, 2 goals in two, kick on.
I've arrived. Yeah. That's nice of you to turn up, wee man. I'm glad to see you back. Really
Yeah.
glad to see you back. In terms of other first half opportunities, the only other real one I note is on 34 minutes. Jan Dan's free kicks missed by most, including Lauren Shankland and Frankie
Yeah.
Kent. Kai Rose looks to double her advantage at the back post, but the Aussie just slides his shot wide of the mark. St Mirren didn't pose too much of a threat. Killian Phillips headed
That
a
is
corner
being
wide.
so polite.
Yeah, but again, I say it all the time. There's always a chance at 1-0, and it was imperative that
True.
Hearts had to go out, grab that second goal, put the game to bed,
Oh,
and boy, did they put it to bed at the start of that second half. It was a solid start to the first half, but an electric beginning to the second 45. Malachi Boateng and Benny Beningame exchanging passes once again. The ball is switched out to the right flank where Daniel Oyegoki is. He has a ton of space to run into, aiming to get at the buddy's back line before he cuts in, bends a beautiful effort past Balcom in a flash, kisses the inside of the right hand post on its way in. And Daniel McIver, if you're going to score your first goal for Hearts, this is some style to do so. It's a fine finish from the fullback.
it's his weak foot.
Ah, it's caviar.
You know those videos that Ewan make, pitch side highlight kind of things. You know
Yes.
how at the end he's up with the players. Have you seen the clip of Penrice and Danda?
No.
Where Penrice turns to Danda and goes, Jan. And Jan goes, yeah. And he's like, Daniel? And Dan's like, I know, I couldn't believe it. And then you just hear Penrice go, I didn't even ken he had a left foot. I've never seen him use it. Like, that's,
I love Laurie's commentary saying that Benny Benigamy was dumbfounded
yeah,
by
he couldn't
still
even,
by
Benny
the
did a
goal
wee
and just yeah,
dance. He did a wee dance. It was great.
incredible.
Boateng technically gets an assist for that, which is hilarious. Um, I'm one of them that as soon as he hit it, half the stand stood up because it was like, that's in. That's definitely in.
Frightening
Unbelievable.
finish.
I understand why Stephen Robinson was so furious in his post-match comments because why does it feel like he could have stopped, kind of just planned where to put it and then put
Oh,
it there? Because the amount of time he
acres.
has is
Absolute acres.
ridiculous. Like
I
it's
know.
insane, but it doesn't matter how much time you've got. You still need to then do that. Like it's
But
still ridiculous.
that's what I was going to say. Is that a naivety on their part that they're just happy to let Daniel
Maybe,
Oyegoki wander forward,
yeah,
blissfully unaware, because none of us have seen it, that he can do that?
yeah, just unbelievable. And in his celebration, he did John Cena's "You Can't See Me," so he's my favorite player of all time now. Basically, he's a
Pathetic. Yeah.
defender called Daniel that scores rakers and likes wrestling. He's me,
Oh my
basically.
God.
I'm such
Oh
a
yeah.
fan.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
so chuffed for, and also small thing. The row behind me spent the entire first half saying how it looked like he'd won a competition to play. And I thought he was solid in the first half, as everybody was. So to do that, it was almost as if Cookie was like, and
yeah,
by the
that was
way, to you fucking idiots, I'm just going to do
search
this.
them out in the crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
You mentioned St Mirren and Stephen Robinson there. I think how I could sum up their and his afternoon is an incident on 51 minutes where they try and play out from the back, but Ellery Balcom just blasts the ball off Blair Spittle, and then has to sprint back to his goal line to clear successfully. As much as Hearts were great, the buddies were bad. You would struggle to believe that they beat us 2-1 in Paisley just last month.
Do you remember that Livingston performance from either last season or the season before at Tynecastle?
Was it the 1-0 with Vargas? No.
Yes, that
Yes,
exact
I
game where Livingston, like from minute one, went,
were
we
at
are
it.
putting
Yeah.
11 men behind this ball and not doing anything. This performance was worse than that for St Mirren. This is one of the worst performances I can remember at Tynecastle. No shots on target against a team bottom of the league who hadn't won yet, in a
And
new
who you'd
manager
already beaten.
who you'd just beaten pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I just like. I was sat going, listen, I know St Mirren aren't in the best of forms right now. They've not won away from home.
Great season last year, though, so
But
you
that's
know
the
they've
thing.
got
It's
some
like
players.
the
Yeah.
majority of that team's still the same. I know there was, for legal reasons, we'll say mitigating circumstances during the week that
Nice
affected their
save. Yeah.
that affected their preparation. But I didn't expect that. By the way, will Kevin Van Veen ever look like a football player
I
ever
knew
again?
I knew you were going to pick up on Van Veen because I'm starting to believe that he's a fraudster, a full-on
So, I
fraud.
mean, I've
If he
been
can't
saying
score against
this.
Hearts, then like we have seen some right shite score against
Yeah,
us over the years, regardless of the badge and the coloured shirt that you pull on.
yeah,
I think we are the only Scottish team he's never scored
we
against.
are. We are.
Yeah,
And I was saying he was a fraud when he was fucking
like
banging
for
in
Motherwell and
goals
banging them
for
in.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still
then
was
when he was
like,
desperate to see us sign him. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, no, thank you. I think he's quite shite and cool, just running, riding the coattails of luck. And apparently, I'm even more right than I thought I was because he just didn't even look arsed. Like, he just was like, oh no, I won't. It's another game where I don't score against them. Ah, well, shite. Get it up, yeah. I mean, he's apparently quite a nice guy. I don't have this much venom for him personally, but I think it's funny.
just just as a player.
Yeah.
Um, again, St Mirren, the only real chance of note in the second half. They looked to pull one back on 75 minutes. Elvis Bomono down the right hand side where a certain somebody should have been perhaps then that you spoke about. Crosses for Roland Adowu, but Gordon gets a touch on it, and Mark O'Hara then heads over as our goalkeeper is still on the deck before he receives treatment. Hart should make it 3 on 81 minutes, though. It's a great tenacity from Cammy Devlin off the bench. Battles for the ball on halfway. Alan Forrest then receives, drives at Charles Dunn before he slips it to Jan Danda on the right hand side. He's got James Wilson and the aforementioned Forrest up with him. Instead, ups the goal on, shoots into the side netting. Could do better, should do better, but that's essentially put to bed on 85 minutes because it's his set piece that causes chaos and just a really wholesome and wonderful moment. Frankie Kent heads on the free kick, keeps the chance alive. Honestly, Calamity Jane and that buddy's backline. They don't know if it's Pancake Tuesday or Sheffield Wednesday. James Wilson then just stabs home, gets what he can on
Knees
it
it.
from a yard or two out. And the 17-year-old grabs his first goal in Maroon. Again, spoke about it earlier, but supposedly a massive boyhood Hearts fan, according to Andy Halliday on Super Scoreboard. That must just be the most incredible feeling.
I think weirdly, it's like the second best way to score. You either want to score a fucking raker like Oyegoke, or just like be involved in a smash and you can claim you got the last
Oh,
touch on it.
100%. If that's
Yeah,
his only goal for Hearts, he'll be showing that to boozers all over
yeah.
Edinburgh for decades. And quite right. I'd do the exact same thing.
It was so funny seeing just when you watch it back because it's happening so quick. I
He
kind
doesn't
of
even know what to do. He just stays there. He stays in the vicinity and just
yeah,
hopes that something's going to drop. I love it.
because you're there. You can see there's a stramash, but you're just trying to find the ball the whole time. So when you go back and watch Sports Scene and you see the keeper flying like he's on a green screen through the air, Gogic and whoever it is in his shirt ripped sports bra colliding on the line, just What are they doing? Like it
I have
feels
no idea.
deliberate.
I've
And yeah,
no idea.
just Wilson kneeing it just over the line as well. I didn't even get it to the back of the net. Just like it makes it in. Just I'm so happy for him because I was furious at Forrest for not passing to Wilson. I thought the pass was in that chance you just mentioned. I was like, the ball's Wilson. Play
Yeah, I
Wilson.
thought so.
And I was like,
It's a
that's
great
it.
run. Yeah, I mean,
It
he
is.
does really well. He's in the space, but yeah,
So chuffed
just
for him.
read.
And
Oh,
hopefully
absolutely.
the first of many.
Yeah, certainly. I just I love that. Absolutely love that. Love that we've seen Adam Forrest try and challenge for the right back slot. Love that we're seeing James Wilson even pick Liam Boyce to coming on.
I
You
think
know,
that's a very big statement from Critchley to take off
absolutely it is.
Shankland on the hour mark for a 17, the captain for a 17-year-old who's not scored yet.
Yeah. And thankfully, as you say, hopefully that's the first of many for young James Wilson. And three would become four in added time. I think it was Charles Dunn on the line with Alex Gogic. He has had an absolute nuke. A poor pass out from him is pounced upon by Cammy Devlin once again. However, it's a poor pass first time around from Cammy Devlin off the bench. Gets
I'm
a second go
shocked to
at it
hear it.
and finds Blair Spittle on the edge of the area. Very similar to Daniel Oyugoki in that he's got all the time in the world, steadies himself, shoots, bends home a lovely curl drive into the bottom corner. It's now 2-2 for the former Motherwell midfielder, and he grabs our fourth in an emphatic victory. The perfect start to Neil Critchley's reign at Tynecastle Park.
And he terrifies the life out of the entire stadium as we all think he's done his hammy. Fuck's sake. But it turns out it was just cramp, so it's fine. Um, that highlight that you said Charles done with a wayward pass, it's because of Spittle. It's because of Spittle's
Yeah.
shutting down. And listen,
Oh, his pressing was phenomenal, even
in
at that
that
late on in the
moment,
game.
when he was doing it, I turned to my brother and was like, "It's the 93rd minute. How is he still doing this? Like, what's going on?" And there was a moment it wouldn't have made it into any highlights package because it didn't do anything. But it was in the first half. It was in like the first 10 minutes. I feel that might be wrong. People who were also at the game, let me know. There was a moment where Blair Spittle ran from the left wing the entire length of the St Mirren back line, following them wherever the ball went. He just harried them constantly, and it went out for a throw. And the entire stadium stood up and applauded, and Critchley was like really getting up. So it was like such an important moment for the game because it was still 0-0, I swear, at that time. And it was like, look, look at the energy levels. The crowd are so behind it. As Critchley said, Spittle personified the performance. And I know I was like having a laugh earlier about Naismith, but like it genuinely is like, of course you're going to lose your job if you sign a guy with this clearly much talent, endeavor, intensity, and just like I want to win. And you play him completely out of position and kind of then throw him out, like hang him out to dry. Like,
It
what are
makes
you
you wonder if
doing?
it actually was Stephen Naismith's signing. Did he sign that
I
off?
know,
Was
yeah,
that one that the club already identified, or who sanctioned that? Who signed that off?
yeah, definitely. But
And then
then
is there a breakdown between the hierarchy and head coach? I don't know.
But it is like, well, Naismith, you're the manager, so make him work. And you don't
Yeah,
need to make Blair Spittle work because clearly Blair Spittle just works if you put him in his natural position.
I'm so pleased because he was one that I was beginning to get really frustrated with.
Yeah,
And again, it's not his fault because he's been out of position. But now again, I don't see any reason why he and Danda shouldn't start on the flanks
every game.
every week. Yeah,
Yeah, like 2 and 2, both on the edge of the box, absolute pearlers. Like I saw somewhat, I
different
can't remember.
strikes as well, different
Very
different
different
goals,
strikes.
and
Yeah,
it just goes to show how talented a player he actually is.
I can't. I apologize. I can't remember who sent me it, but someone sent me a tweet of someone saying you don't want to get too ahead of yourself, but he reminds you of Hartley in that kind of. And it's like he does because in the
My
way
favourite
when
Hearts player
Devlin
ever.
joined,
Let's just settle down now.
Devlin reminded you of Hartley in terms of like his fucking just tenacity and like running about everywhere. And then you saw
Aggression
Cammy
and yeah,
Devlin try and pass or shoot, and it was like, oh, he's no Paul Hartley. Right, okay.
that's an insult.
Spittle seems closer to that elite. I think a lot of people, I did see some people at the time compare Neuenhoff in terms of like, Neuenhoff looks like a bombastic centre mid that can push forward and score goals.
I was actually going to say when we were talking about Blair Spittle's pressing, do you think he rivals Cammy Devlin in the bleep test now? Do you think it's those two that are the
Definitely.
last? Yeah,
It has to be. It's, as I say, it's Cammy Devlin but can shoot. Like, it's just ridiculous.
just let
Um,
Cammy do all the running about and give it on to
yeah,
him, and just let him take care of the rest.
so happy for him. And yeah, he deserved his goal. He was the best player in that park by a mile. And Penrice came close to him.
Whoa, whoa,
Oyegoke also
whoa!
came quite
What's the,
close.
the Luke hatred?
No, I look like
We
Penrice is
love we
just
love Luke. To be
Penrice
fair on
is
this
just
one.
becoming Cochrane and Smith. Where it's like, oh yeah, there's another seven,
Oh,
at least 7 out of 10 every single week. Like it's
it
happening.
still hurts, but I really do like him. He's the best on earth. Simple as.
Yeah. I mean,
And
he's been
yes,
our
I
player
am
of the
gonna make it.
season.
I am gonna make a chant out of that. So
Good.
get up, y'all. It'll be terrible, but get up, y'all.
Just like the wonderful tweet you said. It summed him up. I've, by the way, folks,
Best
I've
on
been
earth.
shown that. Didn't know that until we started recording. This
Best
is
on
the
earth. Simple
see,
as.
the quality controls went to the windy now that I'm off social media.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What a wonderful footballer. Anything else to add?
I don't think so. It was just in the 35th minute when it was 1-0. I turned to my brother and went, regardless of what happens today, for these opening 35 minutes, we've looked like we have a plan and we know what we're doing. I think Liam Fox deserves, as I said, immense credit for that because so much of the groundwork was laid by him. And hopefully we can carry it on.
Absolutely. Two massive games in Edinburgh this week. The first of which obviously sees Hearts play Omonia Nicosia in the Europa Conference League at Tynecastle on Thursday night. We don't know a great deal about Omonia Nicosia. However, we have got somebody on the podcast that does know a lot about Omonia Nicosia. So we're going to welcome him on now. Yes, given neither myself nor Daniel know an awful lot about our midweek opponents, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our Cypriot football correspondent, Stel Stylianou, onto the podcast, who is an Omonia Nicosia supporter and can give us the rundown on his team. Stel, welcome to Perth to Paisley.
Oh, mate, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for coming on. There's going to be many Hearts fans still that will want to know more about the Cypriot game, Cypriot football. Where do you believe it ranks in comparison to, say, Scottish or elsewhere in Europe? Because the bookmakers seem to think that Thursday's meeting could potentially go either which way.
It's difficult to say because the Cypriot League is improving year on year. The quality of players are improving. We're making some decent signings. Connor Goldson has just joined Aris Limassol. We've
Of
got
course.
various clubs across Cyprus that have very good scouting networks, whether it be in South America, France, Belgium. And we are unearthing some talents. Hefte Vidal was at Abuel on loan last season from Fluminense. He's now at Glasgow Rangers. Um, and there are players that have left Cyprus to go and play in bigger leagues. You know, we've got Bitta that's playing in Sweden at the moment. One of our players, Loizo, was on loan at Heronveen last year. So it is improving. As you know, Alex Gogitz is at St Mirren. But in terms of the quality of the Cypriot League, look, with the exception of 3 or 4 teams, the rest are average at best. So I wouldn't turn around and say, yes, well, you know, now Salamina are just as good as, I don't know, Dundee. They're not at that level, not when it comes to playing staff or even professionally, how things are done in Cyprus. There's a lot of nepotism. Agents are very well connected to sporting directors. There's a lot of corruption as well. I'm not going to go into that. And when the game isn't as clean as what it should be, you're not going to get clubs thriving throughout the league. Let's just put it that way. We've got problems when it comes to fans, when it comes to referees. In fact, this is the first year in 3 or 4 that we've just got Cypriot referees. The previous years we've had a lot of
Welcome to our
yeah.
world.
Well, this is it, and you know, even VAR, they're not getting things right. It's terrible. We don't have goal line technology. There've been so many games that have had really good goals not given or goals that shouldn't have been given. But that's what makes the Cypriot League entertaining. I wouldn't change it for anything. I've got stories that I could write a book about. In fact, we're thinking of writing an annual for this season because today the seventh manager was sacked. 7 managers have gone, and
Jesus.
this club has sacked 2 already. Another club has sacked 3. So yeah.
Um, Look, obviously you stay in Britain, so you might not get a whole host of Scottish football that kind of comes your way. What do you and I guess other Ammonia fans perhaps think of Scottish football? Was this kind of seen as a winnable game for you guys when the draw was initially made?
At the time, yes, because I know you guys were going through a bit of a slump. You lost to Dundee United, you lost to Motherwell. There's a game against Aberdeen where you lost 3-2, I believe.
Yeah,
And we
just
were
before
going
the
through,
international break.
yeah, and we were going through a really good run of form. You know, our European form was fantastic. We beat every team.
We're
Um,
tied top ahead of
yeah,
the meeting on Thursday.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know, look, we played Torpedo Goudaisi in the first game, the qualifier, who are managed by Steve Keane. We beat them quite convincingly. We beat Ferhava, who are traditionally a very good team in Hungary. We beat them with no problem, even away from home. Our away form has been terrible in Europe. And we went to their ground and absolutely took them apart. And it should have been more than 2-0. And then we played Zira at home. And look, Zira are an okay team, but I knew that we'd get at least 5 against them, and we got 6. And this isn't me being arrogant. It's just that I saw how we were playing and how Zira play in their domestic competition. And I was like, you know what? Their defense is absolutely tragic. But then as the season has progressed, and we're in October, and right now, there are a lot of concerns from us. We lost at the weekend to a team that's just been promoted. You know, we struggled to break them down. They played the 5-4-1. We had little imagination. The goalkeeper only had 1 save to make, and that was in the first half. The game before, all right, we lost 2-0 to Addis, who won the title not last year, the year before, and they're a very good team, as Glasgow Rangers saw a couple of years ago. So there's no shame in losing to them. But again, missed opportunities. If you put the ball in the back of the net, which we should have done in the opening 20 minutes, the game might have been different. All right, whatever it is, what it is. And even before that, we played Anorthosi, who are traditionally one of our rivals. They weren't doing well at the time. They were close to the bottom of the table. They had big financial problems. In fact, they're still 14 million in debt. In fact, their whole board resigned a few weeks before the game. And in fact, they've now appointed their 3rd board in 7 months, right? Players weren't being
What the
paid.
hell?
Yeah. There was all sorts of carnage at that club. In fact, last season, the fans raised £1 million to save the stadium. Otherwise, they'd have lost it, right? We even donated that £100 as a podcast to help them.
Jesus.
But anyway, so we lost 1-0 to them. And again, it's no shame losing to Anorthosis, but when they're in such free fall, and all right, we were down to 10 men after half an hour, but we didn't create anything second half. So since we qualified for the league stage of the Conference League, our league form has been absolutely terrible. So at the time when we got the draw against you guys weren't going through a good patch. We were doing pretty well. And I thought we might be able to get something out of this one. But given the way that we've been playing recently, especially with the type of goals that we conceded, I don't know. I think this could be a hiding. It could be a hiding.
Really? I was going to say last year, obviously, you guys finished 3rd in Cyprus above the aforementioned Aris. Hearts finished 3rd in Scotland, yet you've lost, I think it's 3 of your last 4 league games. What's gone wrong
Yeah.
recently?
I can't put my finger on it. On the one hand, I can say poor managerial decisions when it comes to substitutions, timing of substitutions. I could say tactically, we've been getting certain things wrong. My main bugbear at the moment, which people are getting fed up with me saying this, is corners. We're absolutely useless at corners. We've had 113 corners this season, and we've only scored 1 direct from a corner. The other 2 were from just basically short corners and then working the way to goal. So that doesn't count for me. But then
I
also
might
it's down to
actually have
the
found somebody that's even more useless at corners than we are. So that's encouraging
well,
at least.
there you go. But then it comes down to the basics, and I'm not, when I say basics, I mean ball watching. We got a couple of fullbacks that do that, dwelling on the ball for too long. We've got a couple of fullbacks that do that, not being clinical in front of goal, not making the right decisions in front of goal. It's a collective. It's a collective, and then obviously selecting some players who shouldn't even be anywhere near the first team But again, people are going to think I've got an agenda against one person. I don't. I just don't think he's good enough. But that's just my opinion. So it's just one of those things, mate. But what I know about this club, because it's like clockwork with Omonia, what will happen is we'll go through a funk, we'll go through a spell where, the results ain't great, the performances ain't great, and then it will take one game, whether it be a big game, a derby game, or even a European game, where they pull a performance out of their backside, and you're thinking, where's this been for the last 3 weeks? Honestly, it's like getting a neuralizer from Men in Black. You press the button, you forget everything that happened in the past.
You've spoke about kind of a lack of sharpness in front of goal. I think Hearts fans are just relieved that obviously the news about Stevan Jovetic not being registered and therefore unavailable has obviously come out. That is right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But the thing is, to be fair, he's not an out-and-out centre forward, Adam. He's not an out-and-out centre forward. So people, when we signed him, there's a lot of Omoni fans saying, yeah, he's the striker that we want. And I'm like, he's never been an out-and-out centre forward. He's always been a second striker. And even last season at Olympiacos, when they won the Conference League, he was actually better on the left-hand side. So there's this notion that Jovetic is going to come in and score 20 goals. It's not going to happen. The main player that we're going to have that's going to be scoring our goals as a centre forward is Mariusz Stepinski. And, this guy has played for Chievo Verona. He's played in Ligue 1 for Nantes, I believe. And when he joined, he's a decent player. He was at Aris Limassol for a couple of years. And the one thing that has hindered him are injuries. Because once he gets in some form, he either gets an injury or he gets sent off like he did against Anorthosis. He missed 2 games. So we can't rely on him to get our goals. Then we've got Andrego Gagulé, who is a 23-year-old striker, blessed with pace. I mean, he's one of the fastest players in Europe. He can run for days. He can track fullbacks. He can track centre-backs. His movement is sublime. He's won so many penalties and free kicks for us over the past 3 or 4 years that he's such a dangerous player. But the one thing that lets him down is his goal scoring. Like, his finishing really needs improving. And I can say this because he's my friend. I've even said it to him, like, you need to be more composed in front of goal, bro. Like, you can't keep doing this. But at the same time, he's still young. He's still 22, 23. So in terms of where the goals are going to come from on Thursday, I'm guessing the likes of Simic will be involved. I'm guessing the likes of Willy Semedo, if he's 100% fit, because he's just come back from injury. I'm hoping Semedo comes good because he's a vital player for us. And then you got the likes of perhaps Adzili, who we signed in the summer, that's been really, really underwhelming. I mean, this is a guy that scored twice against Juventus a couple of years ago for, I think it's Maccabi Haifa, I think. He came with a bit of a dodgy reputation. Just Google him and you'll find out why. And then we've got Loizos, who's like the Cypriot Messi. He's blessed with a lot of talent, but the mentality needs to change. So that's the long answer to your question. I don't even know if I answered it properly, to be honest.
No, I was going to ask. So they're kind of the noteworthy players and danger men. Is it just that threat up front? Is it pace in the wide areas? Tactically, how do you think your gaffer's going to approach this? Sort of, are you looking to go out all guns blazing and out for the win, or will they go that bit more conservative because they're away from home? Would a draw be seen as a decent result?
A draw right now, a draw would be a great result, and especially with it being a league format. We beat Vikinga 4-0, but that scoreline doesn't reflect the opening 20-25 minutes because they were all over us. And all it took was one injury from their player. In fact, I think the centre-back went to clear the ball and the central midfielder tried to get his head on the end of it and he got kicked in the head. So his own player injured him and he went off with a concussion. And that changed the game for them because that central midfielder was the guy that was holding the team together. At half-time, we've gone in and Dambrasca has obviously noticed that they're tiring. They've had a long season. They haven't got the pace that we do with the players that we had on the bench. He brought on Alium. Alium is a fantastic little player. I say little, he's quite tall, but we got him on loan from Hammarby. In fact, we had him last season on loan and he started really slow, but then the back end of last season, he was absolutely sensational. So we brought him back on loan this summer and he's absolutely rapid and he's like a bulldozer as well. So imagine a bulldozer that can go fast. That's him. That's him. So if we are to play, the 4-2-3-1, which is what I expect, I'm hoping that Alium starts, especially on the left hand side, if Semedo isn't 100%. But Valdas has never been the coach to sit back. Like even in the European games away from home, it's just let's just go for the win. Now, will he change that approach tomorrow because we're playing clearly a better team than the others that we've played in previous rounds? Probably. Would it surprise me if he went 4-5-1? No. Um, it's difficult to say. It's really difficult to say. For me, the most important thing is we get some control of the game because I've seen how we play this season, and when they click, especially the midfield three, if it's Humboldt or Haralambos, Maric and Irakovic, if they play together, they could cause you guys a lot of problems because their movement is absolutely brilliant. Humboldt's full of energy, likes to get forward. Maric is like I like to say he's very similar to Michael Carrick in how he plays in terms of how he spreads the ball, very good range of passing. And Irakovic is just, he's just so confident on the ball. He's got this swagger about him, but none of them are ball winners. And that's where the problem is. If you ain't got a ball winner, you're going to have problems in the middle of the park. So yeah, it's a sticky one. I don't know which Omonia is going to show up. If it's the Omonia that I want to see, we can get something out of this game. If it's the Omonia of the last 2 to 3 weeks, then yeah.
Listen, I think we've got the fear that it's kind of pre Liam Fox and then Neil Critchley Hearts, or now this rejuvenated, full of confidence, and hopefully can take the game to you, Hearts. I hope it's the latter, but there's every chance that it could be the former. Listen, before you go, I'm going to ask you for a score prediction, Stel, and
Oh,
then
don't do this to me.
if you can then tell the people where they can find your podcast, that the floor is yours here.
Yeah, my head tells me 3-0 Hearts. My heart tells me 1-1. But again, it just depends. Yeah, it just depends on which lineup we go with. Again, it, from what you told me yesterday on my podcast that you've got two wide men that like to drift inside. That might work to our advantage because our fullbacks love to overlap. And look, as much as I've criticised our team, we've got some very very good players. And this is just me saying it. We've got a right back in Alpha Diuncu that came from Man City's academy. He was at Barcelona for a bit. He played for Granada. Koulibaly is a sensational centre back for us anyway. He's absolutely rapid. Banayodu is one of the most promising players for Cyprus, and it's been an absolute shambles. He hasn't got enough caps for the international team. I blame Spire for that. He's a bloody terrorist, but I'm not going to go into that. I mentioned Irakovic and Maric. They're absolutely brilliant on the ball. Humble. I love the kid. He's a family friend as well. So, of course, I'm going to say that. But as a player, this is a kid that was in Arsenal's academy. Loizu, again, as I mentioned, he was at Heron Vane on loan last season. All right, they didn't want to sign him permanently, but he's got something about him. So we've got players in this squad. And even from a backup perspective, Adam Lang is a centre-back that plays for Hungary. In fact, he was at the Euros with Hungary. So people don't know money and they see a Cypriot team and they think, they sound like medicine, they sound like urine, they sound like this. I hear this all the time. I had it from Man United last season, a couple of years ago actually. Even Goldbridge was giving it a bit of the mouth, and he was almost made to eat his words because we almost got something out of it. So I never go into games misjudging teams, and even if you guys were still going through a bad run of form, I would still say it's going to be difficult. Tynecastle can be quite a scary place to go. So I've got friends that have played there, and they said it is quite hostile. And obviously a European game, so it's a big thing for you guys. And you won at the weekend, so
taking a half day off work, had a couple of pints under the lights,
mate. So, but I think we're taking 1,000 or 2,000 fans, something like that.
That's pretty impressive.
2,000, something like that. So yeah, we travel well, our fans. We don't cause any trouble either. I promise. Like we don't. We're not like our rivals. I'm not going to talk about
them. I know the feeling. Listen, all the best on Thursday and for the rest of your Conference League campaign. And thanks again for coming on, Stel.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much to Stel for giving us the rundown on Hearts' midweek opponents, Omonia Nicosia, as we take on the Cypriot side at Tynecastle Thursday night. Can't wait for it, McIver. Love a European night under the lights.
I'm missing it all. I can't even watch it on TV because I've got training at my work from 5 till 8.
The only downside is that kickoff time.
Yeah.
But I
Hey,
expect
though,
a load of half days taken at work and hitting the
also,
boozer pretty much straight from work.
we've learned this season when I don't watch Conference League games, we win. So
That's a good point.
I will
That's a good point.
sacrifice me not getting to see it if we win. Because if we win,
Take another 2-1 last minute winner as
yeah,
well. That would be the dream.
no, I hope we just kind of comfortably win so it's not as excited. So I haven't missed that moment.
That's boring, though.
No, I don't care. I
Nobody
want a
wants to
boring
stroll
win.
to win. That's not how you win these games. It's a
When
last
I'm not
gasp.
there, that is exactly how I want us to win. When we're playing Petrofac or whatever the fuck they're called, that's what I want.
Petro Cup.
Yeah, there
Petro
you
Cube.
go.
Petro
Yeah, I
Cup.
dickhead. That's what I want then. But I, the fucking laugh is that if we win, we've basically guaranteed knockout
Don't,
football for the first
don't,
time in our lives.
don't even put that theory
Imagine.
up in the sky. That would just be
We've
insane.
never seen that. We'll get beat 85-0 by Chelsea, but we'll get loads of
Imagine
money.
Hearts fans taking over Stamford Bridge. Oh
We would
my
get
God.
so much money.
That
Todd
would be
Bowley, give us
incredible.
18 of your players that you're no using either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that yeah. In terms of as an affiliate club, they'd be a good one. They'd farm out these youngsters willy-nilly anyway.
It'd
They
make
end up
fucking
here, there, and everywhere.
it would make the Lithuanians coming in each year look like fucking nothing as 30
Oh,
guys turn up each year. It's just like, here you go.
but bollocks to the continental stuff
Yeah,
because
who
there's an
cares?
even bigger game at the weekend
There genuinely is. I don't care way more about this than the fucking
between the
European game.
bottom two in the Scottish Premiership.
It's going to
Remarkably,
be the worst game of all time. I
it's
can't
going to
wait.
be it's 22 buses crashing into one another.
Yeah.
What's your thought side of us taking on them at their place?
I think it's going to finish 1-1 and it's going to be the worst game ever.
See, I'm having a real debate because my heart says 0-2 at a minimum. My head
Imagine.
says my head says we're playing in Europe in the midweek. That might take a little bit out of us, and they'll drag us down to their level.
We've got a ready-made excuse.
Yep.
It's fine. So we've actually got a couple. New manager in the door. You reckon what's just going to happen yet? We've just been playing in Europe on a Thursday. It's not even that much an achievement if we get beat.
You
Whereas if
you
we
lot obviously
win,
don't know about a European group stage, so
yeah,
just
exactly, it's a
pipe
different
down,
level.
knock out European football, but you do you.
Whereas if we win, it's like we were fucking exhausted after Thursday and
Yeah.
still beat you. Fuck you. Um, no, I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a. I think it'll be an Edinburgh Derby on crack in terms of no ability and just hammer throwing for 90 minutes.
Nice. Sounds like a great spectacle. Our scorer within the 1-0 draw.
Jan Danda.
Oh, don't mind that. Like that.
And I think Dwight Gale will score and find me and shush me because of the Newcastle affiliation. Dwight, John Shelby came up to me as I went to McDonald's and bought you 3 Big Macs and we laughed at you. Do not carry that sentiment into Sunday or carry the sentiment of eating 3 Big Macs. Do
I was
that.
gonna say, I hope you have that for your pre-match.
Yeah, exactly. Do that. Do not be a professional.
I'm gonna go Vargas
I'd love that as well because I
because I
think he
love
would
him.
rile them up so
But
much.
it'd be incredible. I know, cup his ear
If
and
Fargas
just
got a winner, I think we wouldn't see him
oh,
again.
I don't think you'd see me again.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to the game. I've missed out on a
Neither am
ticket,
I.
but
Yeah.
but I dread to think of the nick that'll be in. That'll be
1 point. I was one
beyond
point away from getting a
beyond my
ticket.
wildest dreams. I was two. Sickener. Absolute sickener. But I a point down there is not a disaster. Be
It
brilliant to beat
depends
them
how it
though, wouldn't it?
happens.
It would
If we
be
score
yeah.
early and then we concede right at the death, a la Martin Boyle,
That'll be a sucker punch.
yeah. But if we're getting beat until the 90th minute, then
Yeah.
Yandanda pops up with something, it feels like a win kind of thing. So I'm going to be. It's not kind of hit me yet because, as I say, I know we've got
No.
like Thursday, we've got a game, so
Yeah,
we need to
I know what you
practice
mean.
that.
I'm thinking far more about Thursday than I am
Yeah,
Sunday, when really it should be the other way about.
Saturday afternoon where it's like, oh yeah, we're not playing right now. Why are we not
Aye.
playing? Oh god, yeah, the kickoff time for that's shite. 12 o'clock.
Yeah, bizarre. 5:45 and 12 o'clock. These two kick-off times, but I'm not going to care if we pick up 3 points in
Ah,
both.
no.
That would be absolutely wonderful. But before we go, we're going to have the end is near quiz. You've
That's
got a true or
worrying. That
false.
terrifies the
You've got a
shit out of
multiple
me.
choice, but then the two questions before the who am I are quite tricky. So
Great.
sorry. But
No, you're not.
again,
Don't lie.
blame Scott, aka Heartstats. Love your work on Twitter.
This is what I mean. You've
Um,
got a fucking dealer of
what?
questions.
You can message him as well.
I'm not on social media anymore.
Well, whose fault's that? You were the one that came off it, you clown.
It's the
Ready?
main disadvantage.
First question is your true or false. True or false? There are two players that have moved directly from Hearts to Ammonia Nicosia, both of whom have played for the clubs during our lifetimes.
That is such a specific fact. But have you double buffed it? And the answer is there's one. Um, I'm going to say true. I couldn't tell you who they are. I want to say one's like Igor Rossi, but I'm going to go true.
It is true, and I was going to ask you who they are.
Oh fuck! Is one
But
Igor
I'll
Rossi?
give you a hint.
It's in
I
that
think of
season.
I think of both these players when I look at this top.
Callum Elliott. Um, oh, both in
Yeah.
that top. So it's around oh
I'm
05,
pretty
oh
sure they
06.
both moved the same season. I
Shit.
think. I'm going to check that.
Really wouldn't have gone to Cyprus. Um,
I mean, you've got the question right. It doesn't really matter,
True,
does it?
but I kind of want to see who it is.
Okay.
Um, this does not come into points. I'm taking my point for the true, by the way. Do not dare
Yeah, yeah.
suggest that
No,
because
no.
I
No,
went
of
for it. It's like,
course.
oh, well, fine. You're going to have to
No,
get
no,
them
no, no,
both.
no.
Around 05, 06. 06, 07,
A wee bit later than that.
07, 08, 08,
Tiny
09.
bit later than that.
08, 09. What am I talking about? I'm not even looking at the kit. That's not the 05, 06 kit.
I know.
Fucking
You're going to
hell.
say Umbro.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
what am I doing? It wasn't in Nadi.
No.
Um, it wasn't. Was it Velichka? Nah. Right. Who is it? A dickhead.
Bruno Aguiar
Oh, really?
and Christos Karapidis, and they both moved in the summer of 2009.
What? That's the top you think of Bruno Agua.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he scored at Easter Road in this top, no?
Oh, he might have done actually. He
I think.
genuinely might have done.
Was that 0809?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'll find that up. I'll find that later on. But yeah, think of the two of them. I loved the pair of them. They were great.
I don't have as many memories of Carapidis, but I fucking love Bruno Agua.
Yeah, what a player. So, one for one. Good start, Daniel
Take it.
McIver. Your second question. Heart Midlothian play Hibernian at Easter Road on Sunday in the first Edinburgh Derby of the season. But which Hibs player previously worked under new Hearts boss Neil Critchley at Blackpool? Was it A. Jordan Obita, B. Joseph Bursick, C. Marvin Ekpiteta, or D. Warren O'Hara?
Shit. I was hoping one of the names would jump out and be like, oh, it's clearly them, but I don't even know if all of them or any of them played for Blackpool.
This is a total stab in the dark.
This is a stab in the dark. I'm going to go. What was C?
Marvin Ekpiteta.
I'm going egg potato.
How the hell have you
Is
done
it
that?
right?
It's Marvin Ekpiteta.
I was
The big
going to go
centre
with
half.
Obita. I was going to go with Obita. Did Obita play for Burnley?
He played for Reading.
I was like, there's maybe a
Why do you
connection
do
with.
this? So now I'm gonna have
Sorry.
to.
Well, fuck
No,
you for your
no.
hard question.
Listen, you got it right.
I am buzzing with that. Complete
Reading, Barnet, Gillingham, Portsmouth, Oldham, Oxford, and Wickham.
Barnet. I knew he started with. I knew he played for a team with B, and I was like, was that Blackpool? But then I was like, I don't think it was. We'll go egg potato. He'll now score an own goal for Hibs at the weekend and make my week completely.
One can only hope.
Yep.
Question number three. You're two from two.
It's going
Question
too
number
well.
three. Yeah, this is when the hard questions come.
Yeah.
Kenneth Vargas scored his first goal for Costa Rica during the latest international break. But who was the last Hearts player to score the first international goal whilst contracted to the club?
Fuck me. Also, don't know why. I thought your question there was going to be who was the last Costa Rican to score while at Hearts? And so that's mental, first of all. Then, secondly, my brain went Jefferson Farfan, who I think is Peruvian and has never
Who's
played.
Peruvian? Have we even had any other Costa Ricans?
I
Bar
don't think
Gerald
so.
Taylor, who's now
Yeah,
just remember him.
yeah, remember him. I don't. Daniel Oyegoke. Um, God, I'm going to say Arnold Doom because I know that he scored for us, but I assume he scored a goal.
It's not as far back as that, I'm afraid. It's
Really?
more recent than you think. I completely had overlooked this.
Is it Lawrence Shankland?
No.
Oh,
He scored for, I think, well, he was at Dundee United. Was it against San Marino or something for Scotland? I'm pretty sure. The answer, Daniel McIver, a tricky one. Kai Rolls,
oh,
back
of
in
course. I
March,
remember it.
scored for Australia against Lebanon.
Yeah, I
So
remember
there
it.
you go.
Shit.
I
Sorry,
complete
Kai.
that escaped my
I
recollection, my
remember it.
memory. But I messaged Scott and I was like, I thought that was quite niche. I thought, oh, first goal for the country whilst at Hearts, that'll be rare. No, in
Oh.
March. Get that right, right, Jato. Two from three. Still an impressive
Yeah.
tally given the questions. Question number four. Who was the last Hearts player to score their first goal for the club that was younger than James Wilson?
Aaron Hickey. Wait, have I misunderstood the question? Have I misunderstood the
Do
question?
you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah.
Who was the last Hearts player to score their first goal for the club that was younger than James Wilson? And again, this is
I've,
on Scott, so
I've definitely misunderstood the question. I thought the question was James Wilson has now become like the youngest player he scored for us in recent years. Who was the next youngest? And I think the answer to that is Aaron Hickey.
are you going with Aaron
But I
Hickey?
don't really have another answer for a young. But Connor Smith,
I
nah.
I had two guesses and both of which were wrong.
Is it going to
So
be someone like fucking David Smith in the admin season?
do you remember that goal that he scored but didn't score at
Yeah,
Easter
but didn't
Road?
score.
That
Yeah.
that was carnage that way in. Jesus.
Oh, it might be
I've
Gary. Gary
seen the videos
Glenn
of him.
was young when he scored. You're just saying there about scoring against Hibs. Oh, I think it's either Gary Glenn or Hickey. How old was Hickey? I think Hickey was 18, but I also think Gary Glenn was 18. I'm going Aaron Hickey. I'm sticking with my gut.
It's neither Aaron Hickey nor Gary
Oh,
Glenn.
okay.
I guessed Harry Cochrane, obviously against Celtic.
Oh, of course. That's the obvious one.
Incorrect. I
Really?
then guessed Anthony McDonald, who was breaking through around the same time as him.
Is it Andy
Incorrect.
Irvin?
No, but I like your thinking.
Who the fuck else is young that
He's
scored for us?
currently out on loan
I was going to say Macaulay Tate, but he's not out on loan. He's just in loan in no man's land. Out on loan. Finlay Pollock.
in a League Cup tie against
Against,
Stirling Albion.
yeah.
Yeah. We
Fuck.
won 2-0. Liam Boyce opened the scoring 20th of July 2021. There
I
you go.
remember watching that and very legal mean.
Nice, nice save.
Thanks.
So, again, tough two last questions, but
I'll take two or four.
you've done well. You've
Yeah.
done well, all things considered.
Thanks.
Are you ready for your Who Am I?
Let's go.
I don't think you're going to like this one. I really don't. I hope you do, but again, you'll see my reasoning why I've picked this player. A boyhood Hearts fan, I'm a Jambos legend after winning silverware with the club I supported as a young boy. I went on to sign for a divisional rival, but never played a game for them, as I was quickly sold to a side down south without ever playing a first team match for my new club. I spent the rest of my career in England before moving to Hearts' midweek opponents and eventually concluding my career in America. I've since coached in both the States and Canada after working for the Manchester United soccer schools, despite previously playing for Manchester City. Who am I?
It might be Kevin McKenna. I don't think it is Kevin McKenna. Fuck. Now,
If Kevin McKenna was a Canadian boyhood Hearts fan, I'm impressed. The parents did an excellent job.
he has to be Scottish. I'm just going with somebody Scottish. I'm taking that. Right. You could be a prick here, and the boy who you've won a trophy is like the under 18s Easter Stirling Cup kind of thing.
No, I'm not going to dub them a legend for winning the under 18s, whatever you just said.
I need to know when they played. Between what seasons did they play for Hearts?
I will get this man's Wikipedia up.
He's not even got the fucking wiki up. This is
Sorry,
shocking.
I was getting distracted.
This is a disgrace.
Oh, you're really not going to like this.
Oh
Bear
my
in mind,
God.
said
It's
our
going to be
lifetime,
1998. It's going to be 98.
1992 to 2000, he played for Hearts.
Right. Not Neil McCann. It's not Neil McCann. It might be. No, Paul Ritchie, I think, was away. Was Paul Ritchie away? I don't know anyone from this time. Neil McFarlane? Was he Scottish? Neil McFarlane was Scottish. But Neil McFarlane was last week. We fucking did it. I did it. And he played like in '04. I don't know any. This player left 2 years before I went to a game.
And me, but I'm sorry.
No,
It's just
4 years before I went to a game.
the only reason is because there's three players that have played for both Hearts and Ammonia Nicosia. I mentioned two of them earlier on, and this is the third, but was the first. If you see what I mean.
Right. It's not Gary Naismith. It's not Neil McCann. It's not Colin Cameron.
Bear in mind, you've still got your clues to use. I know, I've given some stuff away, but you have got clues or questions rather.
I'm trying to just think of the Scottish boys that were in the '98 team. So it's not Gary Locke. I'd have heard if Gary Locke had been at
Imagine Gary Lockett
fucking
up for a stag
Nicosia.
doing Cyprus.
Yeah, that's the only way he's going to fucking Nicosia, right? Oh my God. Right, it's not Naismith, it's not Locke, it's not Robbo. I know he didn't play, but in the cup final. No, he fucking did. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. If it's a defender, it could be Paul Ritchie. Why would Paul Ritchie end up in fucking Cyprus? This is damaging my reputation within the Heart of Midlothian community because
It's
I
not.
can't.
It's
I
a
can't.
tough
No,
one.
no, no, no. My point was going to be I can't name the '98 starting 11. Right? I can't do that.
Okay, that's.
Can't do that. I can barely do the
Graham,
2012.
I
Oh
know you're
yeah,
watching. It's your
he
fault.
fucking could. I couldn't do. I
It's your
could
fault.
probably do '06, and I could definitely do 12. Um,
Everybody can do 12.
yeah. Somebody born yesterday could do fucking 12. Um, if it's a defender, the only person I can think of is Richie because he obviously is a fan, but none of the other. Who would he have signed for? I didn't know he played for Man City. Oh, Richie played for Man City. I have to know is that what position did he play?
Daniel McIver, according to Wikipedia, this man was a centre back.
I thought Richie played right back in the cup final. I thought it was Weir. Somebody else. I can't think of anyone else, and I have to say someone in '98 to
You've still got
save
another.
face.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've still got another question.
No, I don't. Ask the years.
Oh, no, you do. Oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah, that's how we got to this
Yeah,
position.
good of you being honest.
Yeah, I'm open.
That's well done, mate.
Right, I'm going Paul Ritchie because I've got fucking no other clue. Unless it's somehow Gary Naismith. I don't see how though. Oh, but Gary Naismith went down south. No, but we sold him straight to Everton. Nah. Paul Ritchie. Final answer.
Daniel McIver. You were considering going Gary Naismith.
If it's Gary Naismith, I will be fizzing.
It's not Gary Naismith.
Okay.
It's Paul Ritchie.
Yes! Who gives a shit if I can't name the full 11? I know Stephen Adam played, Colin Cameron played, and fucking Ritchie played. I was about to call him Shane Ritchie, but Paul Ritchie.
Part-time Hearts player, full-time EastEnders actor.
Yep, and part-time singer. He could do it all. He went to Cyprus and Man City.
Yes, he did. So I'll run you through the clues. So, of course, boyhood Hearts fan, born in
Yeah.
Kirkcaldy, 98 Cup winner. His only honour in his career, which I was surprised at.
Wow. Okay.
Signed for Rangers in 2000.
I didn't know that.
Dick Advocat sold him to Manchester City for 500 grand
Wow.
from Rangers. He then was on loan at Portsmouth, Derby, ended up at Walsall, came back up the road, played for Dundee United, and then somehow moved out to Nicosia.
That is so random.
Played 2 games for Ammonia Nicosia.
Was he on a stag do and they just saw he was a footballer? It was just like, just stay for a week.
Was seemingly done, but then in 2009 ended up signing with the Carolina Railhawks of the USL First Division, where he then began his coaching career after doing work in the Man United soccer schools. So there you go.
What a man. What a
What a
man. And
guy.
I'm buzzing I got that.
And his boy follows me on Twitter, Jordan. Great lad.
Paul Ritchie follows me on Twitter, even though I dare fucking
uh,
use it.
there we go. So look at us. We should get Paul on.
Yeah,
Paul, if you
shit.
fancy it,
I
come
know
on.
who you are. I got you. No, it's fine. Now, I imagine
did
most
well,
of
mate.
you got Paul Ritchie as soon as you heard the clues.
But remember, we're of a certain vintage. I think you've
I
done really
never
well
saw
there.
Paul Ritchie play for us,
There
ever.
you go.
Nearly half a decade before I started going to games did he leave us. So give me a bit of slack. And I still got him. So cancel your emails now. But if you want to send us an email of praise, you can absolutely do so. perthtopaisley@gmail.com. Perth to Paisley on all the socials. If you have enjoyed listening to this, please leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you've enjoyed watching this and me struggle to try and remember his name, then it is, please, as ever, we've seen a real spike in it recently and it massively helps. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Adam, where can I get you on all the socials?
You can find all my plans for Paphos in the summer of 2025 on all the socials at Adam T. Kendall.
We'll be back next week to discuss all the fallout from Europe and the Derby. That's all you really need.
Oh,
All you need. Well,
2
actually,
wins, please.
we'll be
Please.
back a day early as well because of my work. So
But that's
it's
fine.
even more exciting.
An even more immediate reaction from
Exactly.
hopefully another win down Leithway.
Yeah.
One can only hope.
Or a depressed episode of crying into a
Don't
glass.
start.
We will see, but until then, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
House.